It's Kimmin here and welcome to a new day. A lot of us, or I would say every human being on the planet that's ever been born has one way or another faced challenges in their life. When we do, it's very hard to see that it's gonna be good again, because usually when there's bad things happening in our life, we think that that state is gonna last forever. I used to hate myself, I used to have panic attacks, and now I love myself, and now I experience spontaneous love attacks instead. So my life has definitely changed, and that is from me actually facing the things that has been the most challenging to me. So stick around, I'm gonna share what's been the most challenging in my life. So one of the most challenging things I've ever had to go through, and I reckon one of the longest things it took for me to figure out that I had to face, was me opening up my heart. Opening up my heart has been the best thing I have ever done in my life, because it has made me able to forgive people. It has made me able to let go of things that I've been holding on to. It has made me able to surrender to reality and what reality shows us. And if this sounds a bit crazy, it means that when you surrender to reality, it means that you just accept that whatever happens, happens. And whatever happens comes into your life for a reason. Because most of us, we walk around and we have a little guard around our heart, and it guards us from reality. When something happens that we don't like, we don't invite that in fully, and we resist what reality is showing us. This means that when we don't agree with what reality is showing us, meaning that we try and escape something from the present moment, we are going to suffer a lot. Most us humans on the planet, we walk around and we do this unconsciously or subconsciously all the time, because we want to protect ourselves from pain. The thing is that when we try and protect ourselves from pain, when we're trying to get away from pain or seek pleasure, we're only gonna suffer and create even more pain. So the biggest challenge I've ever had to go through was to actually allow myself to open up to that pain and accept that pain. I've struggled with a lot of anxiety and stress. I don't do that anymore, but I used to back in the day. And those two emotions, that is when you feel like you're out of control, and that is rooted in fear. You know the feeling that you have in your solar plexus when you have like anxiety or fear? I've had that sort of feeling lingering around even now in my life, and it's felt almost like a block. I've been guarding myself from that because I've been trying to run away from it. I've been trying to be like neglecting it and sort of trying to let that go. I've been trying to force myself, I've been trying to do things to let that go, without success obviously, because I haven't accepted that part of myself. So the most challenging but the most rewarding thing I've ever done was when I opened up my heart, and that meant that I started accepting that part of myself, because why would you try and run away from something of yourself? It doesn't make any sense. Like you want to be yourself 100%. Even the things that you don't like about yourself are just things that your mind or your body are trying to tell you. So in my sense, walking around and carrying a lot of fear from my past had stopped me from living my fullest potential. So when I actually started opening up my heart and accepting that past version of myself, something that I'm not even identified with anymore, I started feeling so much more love. Like love in a way that it's hard to describe, because it's love for everything on the planet. It's like you feel this sort of immense calling to wanting to help people even more to realize that within themselves, because I'm 100% certain that everybody can realize this within themselves. So it's just like accepting the tiny pain, which is going to cause a tiny more amount of pain, but it's just going to be emotional pain. It's not going to kill you. So if you're able to accept that a tiny bit and invite that into your heart and fire that guard you have around your heart, you are going to live a much happier life and a much more loving life. Because if you try to neglect like bad parts about yourself, you're gonna neglect good parts about yourself as well. You're not gonna be able to run away from things and have other things coming to you that you want. You actually have to face everything in life. Imagine if you were just able to surrender to everything all the time. You always agree with the present moment. You always agree with what happens in your life. You always accept everything. Play with that thought for a sec. Think about that, because how awesome wouldn't life be then? You would be happy, you would have peace all the time. You wouldn't be happy all the time, because you would still have grief and stuff like that. But you will feel a peace from being 100% accepting to yourself and your own emotional states. So how was I able to open up my heart? Well, it's been a long journey. 5 years it's taken since I started working on myself, and I had no idea that I was gonna be talking like this to the camera, because I would be absolutely fucking terrified about talking to the camera in the past, and I would never face anything that just had a tiny amount of fear in it. I would let fear control my life, and that is because I wouldn't allow fear into my heart. Fear is just an emotion. Grief is just an emotion. Everything we experience are just emotions. So when I first started my self-improvement journey, I focused on fitness, I focused on my appearance, which is extremely common to do. You can focus on improving your appearance, improving yourself. Eventually, I think most people are gonna dive into more of a spiritual path, because that means that you're gonna start going inward instead of directing your focus outward or onto your body. You're gonna start directing your focus into your emotional state and how you experience emotions and how you can become better and more effective and learning how to experience emotions better, like how you can get rid of your triggers, how you can get rid of things that upsets you or makes you sad or makes you scared. Like, things are just programs in our minds that we walk around and get triggered from. Like me, for example, in the past I've been absolutely super furious when people have driven in front of me in traffic slower than I go, and I've reacted to that. I haven't like yelled outside the window or anything, I would never do that, but I've been angry and I've been carrying around that anger for a long time. And now when that happens, I still feel a little bit of frustration arise, but now it's like, instead of directing that energy outward and reacting to my emotions, I'd be like, oh, anger, all right, okay, cool, time to let this go. Time to invite this into my heart. Can I invite this into my heart? Yep, I can sit here, I can be angry. That person in the car before me, they don't even know that I'm angry, right? So it's been a journey to be able to do this, and I've meditated also for 5 years. I've challenged myself repeatedly to get to this point where I'm at right now, but I've never been able to feel love in this way that I'm doing right now. I've never been able to be this happy ever. I never allowed myself to be this happy because I didn't live after what my heart wanted me to do, because I was scared of going after what my heart was telling me to do. So me inviting everything in to my heart has been the best thing I have ever done, and the most challenging thing I've ever done too. And look where I'm at. Like, me facing my fears and allowing that in has made me be here in Australia, and I love myself and I love my life, and I have nothing but trust in the universe and trust that whatever happens in my life is here to stay, or is here for a bigger reason, and for me to be able to learn. Like, always go inward. Like, when something happens that triggers me, or when something happens that's fucking challenging to go through, like emotional pain, whatever it might be, how can I see this from a way that what it's trying to teach me? How can this teach me something? Same goes to people. If you have a person that absolutely annoys the fuck out of you, how can that person teach you something? Can that person teach you something about yourself? Can that person teach you how to let go of the trigger that you experience for that person? Every person in our life are sent out to teach us something about ourselves. If you can have that mindset, every event and circumstance are also in our life to teach us something about ourselves, or to show us where we're not free. If you experience something that you don't want to go through and you're trying to resist and you're not opening up your heart, that event is not going to teach you something because you're not going to agree with it. But if you allow everything to happen exactly as it is, there's always a lesson there, and there's always peace there. This has been a little bit of a different video. I'm going to keep doing more talking videos like this, because talking is something that I'm truly passionate about, and I want to spread this thing that I picked up over the last 5 years that I started my personal development journey to the world, because I know for a fact that the world would be a better place if we all would just start working a little bit more on ourselves. I think we all can agree on that something in the world is not right. Like, a lot of us think that there's something going on that we're not sure of, like what's happening. I think we're all a bit uncomfortable with whatever's happening in the world right now. And I think that most people want something to change, but most people are not prepared to change themselves. So if you want to change the world, start by changing yourself. That's the biggest thing, because how are the world supposed to change if you don't want to change? That's never going to happen, right? Always start with yourself. Go inward. If you want to see more love in the world, be more love. Give more love. It's that easy. So that's what I'm trying to do. But anyway, I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram as well. It's Kimmen. I'll link it down in the description below. And don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Peace.